Okay, so I did my magic circle up to 24 stitches. Then I did down to the 12th row. These are all single crochet stitches all the way around. What I want to do is put my eyes on in the 7th row, and I want 3 single crochets between them because that gives me a center point between the eyes for my comb, my wattle, and my beak. So this is going to be my center stitch. There's another one. Let's see here. Here. And here. I mean, you may put them there and decide you want them down a row or up a row. I don't think. Check and make sure they're kind of centered. If you are giving this to a kid or a pet, do not use these eyes. Sew them on. Do black yarn. Look up some embroidery stitches. But even just in my other chickens, I had these pop off when I finished working the neck. They just like popped off. So I wouldn't trust them with kids. You're going to snap your eyes in if you are using them. If you're not, this is the opportunity to stitch your eyes in. Now, you can do the comb one of two ways. If you're comfortable doing it this way, you can just push your needle in or your hook. Pull it up. It'll leave a tail. And then just start working stitches. Go in. Pull it up. Pull one through. And then you're going to go back through and work these single crochet or these like slip stitches that you're making. So then you'll go back through and you'll work single crochets in those. If you're not comfortable doing that, you're going to take a needle and thread. And I have this just strung through. It is still attached to my yarn. I'm going to start where I want my wattle. And I'm going to go through and just make like stitches that I can crochet into. I'm going to show it this way because I think a lot of people might probably prefer this method. Kind of fold it and make sure you're staying on that center line. You can go back as far as you want. I'm going to go back to about the same distance as I started in the front. And I'm just trying to go around each row. So each row gets a single crochet later when I work back up it. All right, and then just gonna tie a little knot here. And just slip that back in. I will deal with that tail later. I will not cut it off now in case I want to use it to weave in a spot that I feel isn't covered well enough. Oh, see? Popped off already. Apparently it was a bad back. It just wasn't staying on. So now this string that I started that was in the front is still attached to my ball of yarn. So I'm going to pick it up and just start working chain 1, single crochet in the next. We're just working up those stitches that we just made. If you want more of a wavy waddle, you could do like 2 or 3 stitches in the same. I'm just going to do 1 and keep it simple. All right. Now when I get to the back with my last slip stitch, well, those are single crochet. This is going to be a slip stitch. I'm going to kind of make it right into the head. Then I'm going to chain 1 and turn. I'm going to single crochet in that slip stitch I just made. And then I'm going to picot stitch. And then single crochet into the next. Now you could alternate and do every other one a picot stitch. I'm going to do all of them. Now when I get to the front, so I did my single crochet picot all the way back. I am going to like work a stitch right here between the eyes. So I'm going to slip that. So I worked my single crochet picot, and then I slip stitched into the back of my chain 3, and then I slip stitched to the front of the head, And then I will trim a long tail. Not crazy long, but long enough that if I need to anchor something or fix a stitch, I can. So I've got extra tail here and extra tail here. Now I'm going to open it and just see how I'm liking it. I feel like mine is attached pretty well, so I probably won't do a whole lot of adjustments with these tails. Next things next, we're going to put the beak on. So my tail is kind of towards one side, not in the center, because I work down the side and give it a little knot. I am going to place that knot up towards my comb, and I'm just going to slip my needle right in to the same stitch I single crocheted in. I want it as close to the top as I can without actually being in so like I slipped around this one, and then this space for the next row is where I put that beak. And then you're going to come up just like you're sewing on a button or something, and you're going to catch some of that bottom edge and you're going to work your way around, kind of holding it and adjusting it where you want it. Now remember, we still have a waddle to put on, so you don't want it so tight that you can't fit your waddle in. Was gonna show you, but it's not working well here. So when I stitch mine on, I flatten my waddle and press it right up to the nose. So figure out, given how big your waddle is, how much space you need between the comb and the beak, and then stitch your way around. Okay, once you've worked your way around the beak and you're feeling good about it, you're gonna tie the beak string off on the inside and weave it in. Try not to weave in anything around these eyepieces because we need to stitch the mask around the eyes still, and we don't want to have to push through a bunch of knots. All right, so there's your beak. And here is our waddle. Now, if you don't want such a big beak, or such a big waddle, or not waddle, if you don't want such a big comb, see how like mine goes all the way down here and there's that picot stitch? When you're slip stitching back to the other side of your waddle, you can do a picot about the middle point where you're going to put it over the bridge of the beak, and that will also give you a little bit more, like if you need something to fill this space. But mine fits because I made this pattern a bajillion times before I put it up for sale. So you can decide if you want it to be off-centered, symmetrical. You could do more than 13 stitches and make it longer. However you want your chicken to look. Maybe you want it to look like your backyard chicken. And your backyard chicken has a crazy waddle. So I'm going to start by weaving this tail up about to where my slip stitches start. Okay. Now, I'm going to place it. I'm going to place mine a little off center. And I've got my yarn here. And I'm just going to start by pushing it in right by that beak. Want to snug it tight to my beak. I'm going to go back up, catching some of that bottom of the wattle. And then I'm going to go right back in by my beak. Okay. And then you can come up in the face, by the beak, however you want your placement. And then you just work your stitches through the top of the wattle and through the face. Now, I want my wattle to kind of tuck right up next to that beak. So I'm going to make sure that it pushes up there before I tie this off and keep working down the other side. And then I'm just going to stitch right down this side of the face, as close to the nose as I can. However tight down you want your wattle, I let my edges hang a bit. And then just kind of work my way back up. Might want to do a few stitches out to the side to hold this down. Finish stitching it on how you like it, and then sew it off in the back on the inside, avoiding this eye space. Okay, so I've weaved in the tail ends that were from my comb. Cleaned up my inside. There's no tails except for my working yarn that I will come back to. I took a long string. I knotted one end. And coming in, I'm going to come up right through there, and I'm going to go down as close to that as I can, so that I can catch this. That's my string end that I tied a knot in. And pull that tight. Okay, so there's a stitch I just made to secure my yarn. Now I'm going to work in the stitches around the eyes to make the mask. So I went from the nose to just above the right side of the eye. I'm going to push that string out of the way and do my best to come up on the inside. You're just going to keep working back and forth and filling things in until it looks how you want it to look. And then once you get it how you want it, you're going to do the same to the other side. And if you don't have enough string left, tie it off and start a new one. All right, now I've got both of my eyes done. They're not exactly the same, but I'm okay with them. We'll join back up when we have. Okay, so work 12 is the row we stopped on. We're going to meet back up when we do 20 rows. So 20 rows from the top down, and then I will show you how to decrease the back.